Powerful earthquake strikes Mexico. Biden says U.S. will defend Taiwan. Biden wants to expand UN Security Council membership. Russian city fears Ukraine might attack. Ugandan music festival sparks controversy. Egypt to raise Suez Canal transit fees. Gaza farmer finds Byzantine mosaic. Russian pop megastar condemns invasion.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Tuesday, September 20th, and here are your top stories. Reuters reported that the U.S. Geological Survey said that on Monday, September 19th, shortly after 1 p.m. Mexico time, a magnitude 7.6 quake hit near the coast of the border region between Michoacan and the neighboring state of Colima. At only 15 kilometers deep, the quake was relatively shallow and killed at least one person, damaged buildings, knocked out power, and sent residents of Mexico City scrambling into the streets for safety. The U.S. Pacific Tsunami Warning Center issued a tsunami warning for parts of Mexico's coast, saying waves reaching 1 to 3 meters above the tide level were possible.
Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador said in a video address that a person had died in the nearby Pacific port of Manzanillo after a wall collapsed in a store. Authorities also reported damage to 2 hospitals in the western state of Michoacan, near the epicenter. Mexico City Mayor Claudia Sheinbaum said there were no immediate reports of major damage in the capital after the tremors, which rumbled through Mexico on the same day as major quakes battered the country in 1985 and 2017.
U.S. President Joe Biden said that U.S. forces would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion. Asked in a CBS 60 Minutes interview broadcast on Sunday whether U.S. forces would defend the self-ruled island claimed by China, he replied, yes, if in fact there was an unprecedented attack. Asked to clarify if he meant that, unlike in Ukraine, U.S. forces, American men and women, would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion, Biden replied, yes, this is his most explicit statement so far on the issue.
Not saying specifically what it would do if China attacked Taiwan. Long-standing policy has always maintained that Taiwan should make its own decisions about its independence and future.
The media reported that the CBS interview with Biden was conducted last week. The president is in Britain for Queen Elizabeth's funeral on Monday. The interview was just the latest time that Biden has appeared to go beyond long-standing stated U.S. policy on Taiwan. But his statement was clearer than the previous ones about committing U.S. troops to defend the island. In the 60 Minutes interview, Biden reiterated the United States did not support Taiwanese independence and remain committed to a one-China policy.
According to U.S. Permanent Representative to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, U.S. President Joe Biden will present at the high-level UN General Assembly meeting this week regarding ideas for moving forward the long-delayed UN Security Council reform process that includes expanding it. She said, we will have further discussions with other member states on how we can just move the needle on this so that we can make some progress on UN reform and Security Council reform.
One Ukrainian citizen told an NPR reporter that she hopes that, and I'll quote her, she hopes that we can celebrate independence without weapons in the future.
The media reported that Thomas Greenfield laid out what she said were 6 new principles for the council, one of which is expanding its membership. Another relates to Russia blocking the council from acting on its invasion of Ukraine and its fallout by using its veto power. Another principle Thomas Greenfield proposed was bringing transparency to the council while enhancing cooperation. The other issue is which countries get permanent memberships.
As Putin's forces are pushed back to where they came from, there is growing unease in the city of Belgorod, southern Russia, just miles from the border with Ukraine. Russian soldiers retreating from the Ukrainian counterattack now roam the streets. The city is once again filled with refugees. As the Russian front in Kharkiv has collapsed and Ukrainians who have chosen the Russian side have fled for the border, a dark thought has crossed the minds of ordinary people here, that the war may cross into Russia.
Since February, they say, they have fought in Ukraine as part of the invasion force. They were stationed in the village of Veliki Prokody, just north of Kharkiv, when the urgent signal came to flee back to Russia last week.
The Guardian reported in Belgrade, the signals of war and tension are on display. A restaurateur there has bought plywood boards in case he needs to cover his restaurant's windows. Some have built bomb shelters in their backyards. A woman, Marina, who sells camouflage items in the market said, "Every day, dozens of boys come. There are so many of them now since the Ukrainian forced counteroffensive, and everyone has these glum faces. It is more tense now."
According to BBC reports, thousands of revelers from across East Africa and the world have gathered for Uganda's Nieге Nieге festival, which was allowed to go ahead despite a threat to ban it because of immorality. Critics, including several MPs and the Speaker of Parliament, described it as a breeding ground for sexual immorality and homosexuality. But some say the threat boosted ticket sales to the electronic music festival and that the excitement is up through the roof.
Nyeg Nyeg means dance in the local language. Nyeg Nyeg is also a collective in Kampala, Uganda, that promotes outsider music, primarily electronic, by African artists. It was founded in 2013 by expats Arlen Dezillian and Derek Debrew. The media reported that tickets for the 4-day festival have sold out on its website and says more than 150 artists from across Africa and Europe would play across 4 stages. Up to 12,000 people have attended, including 5,000 foreign tourists.
The media reported that last Saturday, Egypt said that it will increase transit fees for vessels, including oil-laden tankers, passing through the Suez Canal. The Suez Canal Authority said in a statement that it will add 15% to the fees for tankers carrying oil and petroleum products, and 10% for dry bulk carriers and cruise ships. The authority's chief, Osama Rabi, said the hikes will take effect on January 1st. He blamed global inflation for increasing the cost of the waterways operations, maintenance, and maritime services.
Authorities said that 20,649 vessels passed through the canal last year, a 10% increase compared to 18,830 vessels in 2020. The annual revenues of the canal reached $6.3 billion in 2021, the highest in its history. Last year, about 10% of global trade, including 7% of the world's oil, flowed through the Suez Canal. It is a major source of foreign currency to Egypt, while the country has faced towering economic challenges and is running low on foreign currency needed to buy essentials such as grain and fuel.
A Palestinian farmer has discovered an ornate Byzantine floor mosaic while trying to plant an olive tree on his land in the Gaza Strip. Salman El-Nabahin said that he and his son had been digging into the ground when they unearthed the relic. They later uncovered several more sections depicting colorful animals and birds. Experts have called it one of the greatest archaeological treasures ever found in Gaza. Mr. Nabahin told Reuters that he had realized the mosaic belonged to the Byzantine era after conducting research on the internet.
The Byzantine Empire was the eastern half of the Roman Empire, which can be traced back to 1330 AD. Archaeologist René Elter from the French Biblical and Archaeological School of Jerusalem told the Associated Press the mosaic was exceptional. He said, "These are the most beautiful mosaic floors discovered in Gaza, both in terms of the quality of the graphic representation and the complexity of the geometry. The Gaza Strip was once a bustling trade route for civilizations. It is rich with antiquities."
One of Russia's most popular singers, Alla Pugacheva, has called on the Russian authorities to declare her a foreign agent in solidarity with her strongly anti-war husband Maxim Gorkin, who is a showbiz star as well. Gorkin was labeled a foreign agent last Friday after condemning Russia's attack on Ukraine. On social media, Pugacheva called her husband a true incorruptible Russian patriot who wants an end to our lads dying for illusory aims. She has been a big star for decades in Russia.
Pugacheva said on Instagram, "I ask you to include me among the ranks of foreign agents of my beloved country because I am in solidarity with my husband." Pugacheva said her husband was a patriot who wanted a prosperous country with peace, freedom, and an end to the death of our boys for illusionary aims. Pugacheva has in the past been feted by both Putin and Boris Yeltsin. When Mikhail Gorbachev died, she praised the last Soviet leader for allowing freedom and rejecting violence.
Funday News will help you sharpen your English skills and keep you informed about international current events. If you want to know more about our other programs and keep learning about the world's most important topics in English, please click the link in the description below to join Funday for free. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I will see you next time.